Well, I'd say it's time to lie back. Let the cares of the day go right out the window and out of your consciousness. And listen to Nightsounds. Welcome, I'm Bill Pearce, your host. Glad to have you here. Some time back, I went in a bookstore, and in the travel section, I noticed a volume with the title The Back Roads of Illinois. Get away from it all. Well, I've been on interstates and freeways for so many years trying to get to places on time that I thought this would be a welcome change. Traveling the back roads. I've entitled our time together tonight, Expressway Living. And how many of us are on that treadmill, riding down the fast lane? I invite you tonight to drop all that and again let it go by and join me on Nightsounds, because the music and the entire mood of the program, I trust, will be therapeutic to you and well worth your time. the distinctive sound of the National Christian Choir with which we open tonight. Medley of old hymns there. Abide with me, and my Jesus, I love thee. Our program tonight, Expressway Living. And if you're in that fast lane, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, tonight we're just going to slow down for a moment. Take the secondary roads. It occurs to me as I'm sitting here and just considering these moments with you, that as a child, a 2-lane concrete highway was a major expressway. Not too long ago, I had occasion to do a concert back in the Delaware Valley area, up into the Pocono Mountains, and some of those grand highways that I regarded as a child, we ran again. And the driver took me through that same trek, and I said, well, what happened to this expansive highway? He said, well, it's the same one, but it's been overshadowed by the interstates. So you know how it is when you go back to a place you once lived as a child, grew up, and many years have passed, and you go back to that same area. Everything looks so small. When then, it was grandiose. Some of the fascination with secondary roads, most of which before the interstates were the actual primary routes, find these secondaries winding through small towns and villages that the interstates avoid. And they usually follow the contours of the countryside. Well, I took this book that I mentioned a moment ago, The Back Roads of Illinois. Had a few hours one day, in fact, I guess I took most of the day, and investigated some of these back roads, and it was a delightful experience. I had almost forgotten. You see things on secondary roads, even though it takes more time and caution. Secondary roads don't promise unhindered passage. Sometimes they're poorly maintained, the ride can be bumpy and slow. Looking in a book with the title, The Life God Blesses by Dr. Gordon MacDonald, he was following a similar experience one time, taking a back road because he had a few more hours. He said each town seems to have one police officer with a radar designed to raise revenues from hapless passers-by. You'd better be prepared for the inevitable slow-moving vehicle that can keep you crawling for miles along no-passing routes. And on the secondary roads, your ability to predict the exact hour which you'll reach the destination is limited, to say the least. Too many potential disruptions along the way. But the advantages, personally and emotionally, are tremendous. Sometimes when we reflect on the disruptive moments marked on the personal map of our lives, we note that most of them become occasions for soul talk or prayer, sort of a conversation between God and you. Jesus often had these with his disciples on the heels of a disappointment or a failure, or some problem that hit them along the way, oftentimes from the blind side. Yet Jesus was always quick to follow every event with questions that were meant to search the soul for its motives and its intentions. Tonight's program, entitled Expressway Living, I almost titled Soul Talk, but basically our subject has to do with patience. Have we lost it somewhere en route? I think that old song recorded so many years ago by Chuck Girard, I'm going to repeat right now because I think we need his message.
In the time of tribulation, when I'm feeling so unsure, when things are pressing in about me, comes a gentle voice, so still, so pure, slow down, slow down, be still, my child, be still and wait on the Spirit of the Lord. Slow down and hear His voice and know that He is God, and know that He is God.
Soloist Chuck Girard with a good bit of counsel tonight for all of us. Slow down. Came upon a couple of very brief poems en route in tonight. The first by Eugene Othello with the title Going His Way. And he wrote, because God sets a special course for each of us to go, I do not ask the wheres and whys. Why do I need to know? Because God holds us in His hand, wherever we may be. I walk in faith, so nothing stops me from my destiny. So, should you stumble, even fall, or cry in pain or fear, just listen, and you will hear Him call, fear not, for I am here. And then these words by Florence Barclay with the title His Way. He has a way with hearts grown sad, a way we've known before. When He appears where shadows fall, He opens one more door. Words are often empty along the troubled road. His presence never fails to lighten heavy loads. Simple words tonight, written without complexity. And in a sense, mentally and spiritually, we're taking the back roads, the secondary routes, getting off the main highways, the expressway living, the interstates, the fast lane. Tonight's program titled Expressway Living. Many of us didn't really choose this, but here we are. Each town that we go through can be delightful on the back roads. A log of our life's travels may note experiences that remind us of detours, accidents, flat tires, potholes, speeding tickets. But it might also show that there have been glorious vistas, roadside parks, delightful towns and villages, all symbolizing the marvelous discoveries, the great friendships, the opportunities to make a difference. Maybe we've forgotten these moments. Maybe we admire and applaud those who seem to live an interstate lifestyle. But a personal map, or the secondary roads and their sometimes crazy surprises around each curve, can be dotted with what we call disruptive moments, the unanticipated events. Maybe we would have chosen to avoid these. Most of us, human beings, are inclined to neglect the soul and all else beneath the waterline unless and until these disruptive moments come. Secondary road travel often slows us down and helps us to look around. How many beautiful, quaint, sometimes exquisite little towns meet us along their way. On a couple of these, when I was traveling the back roads, I just took time to get off even the main road through town and go around the area, the little streets, the residences, playgrounds, delightful parks, sometimes rivers and little rest areas that we would never have seen had we not gone off the main track. In this frenetic expressway living that many of us are into, in our hearts, in our attentiveness, in our emotions and psyches, we're missing something. The power of simplicity that God would bring us back to. Back to His Word. Back even to some memories that were constructive along the way, that helped us, that we may have long forgotten. This is good. It's therapeutic, and it helps us to get underway again, if we have to be on the interstates. Tonight's program, Expressway Living. Our music I have designed to calm us down, if nothing else. Help us to reorient our thinking, our emotions, and our spirits toward God. Asking Phil Driscoll to play one of the old ones again. There is a place of quiet rest. You'll remember this one. Near to the heart of God. A place where sin cannot molest. Near to His heart. O Jesus, blessed Redeemer, near to the heart of God, hold us who wait before You near to His heart of love, compassion, and quiet confidence. Let's reflect again as the music plays. Tonight's program, not only about patience, but perseverance, love, consideration, pacing. It was F.B. Meyer, one of the old saints of God, who used to say, God's delays are not God's denials. They're usually the means which God uses to prepare us for something better. God is always at work for the good of His people, and He is working in all things. This includes the things that perplex us and cause pain. And oftentimes the only way He can teach us patience and pacing is to test and try us. And the only way we can learn patience is to surrender and allow Him to have His way. Somebody said God can grow a mushroom overnight, but He'll take time to grow a giant oak or a sequoia tree. Looking back in the Old Testament, it took Him 13 years to prepare Joseph for the prime minister's office in Egypt. And He invested 80 years preparing Moses for 40 years of service. And King David was just a boy when Samuel anointed him king of Israel. But as you know the record, David had to experience a good deal of suffering before he finally ascended to that throne. So we're the richer for it, because out of those years of preparation came many of David's greatest psalms. Looking at Jesus, He spent 30 years getting ready for 3 years of public ministry. So why should you and I feel that we have to be in such a hurry? Jesus patiently obeyed the Father's will as He carried out that ministry. Do you remember what He told Mary in John chapter 2, verse 4? My hour has not yet come. Are there not 12 hours in the day? He asked His impatient disciples. So God has His times as well as His purposes, and to miss His times is to delay His purposes. And as we are reminded in the Holy Bible, perhaps the hardest place to be patient is in the furnace of suffering. It's in the hour of suffering that we need to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises according to Hebrews chapter 6. And further it states in the Word of God, for you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. So if you received Christ as Savior, Jesus Christ is in you by His Spirit tonight. We can count on that. Lord, make me patient, someone said, but I need it right away. Patience, perseverance, this kind of prayer God can't answer in a sense, for even He must take time to turn clay into useful vessels. So the best thing you and I can do is get on the back roads, get off the interstate and the expressway and the fast lane. Stop looking at our watches and calendars and simply look by faith at His will and His word. Let Him have His way to direct us through the detours, the small towns, the experiences, the delays, in His time. Joy Morgan Davis wrote, I am so excited about tomorrow, Lord. I can't sleep tonight, and I need to sleep. Tomorrow will be so wonderful. I don't want to be tired. Would you now just slow me down, settle my mind, and soothe my nerves, and help me to store my strength for today, tonight. Sometimes it takes a while to slow down, doesn't it? We get into such a momentum that we can't even turn our heads off, even if we're tired in body. The Lord is our shepherd. He helps us to lie down in green pastures. He restores our souls, our minds, our spirits. He teaches us His way. Let's stop and listen. Get off the main highway, get into the back roads of your heart, your mind, and His Word, and begin to learn simplicity and power. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'd love to hear from you. Our mailing address is Nightsounds, Wheaton, Illinois, 60189. May His peace take you through the night and into tomorrow. Good night to you.